All right. We're back. So, I got to ask you a question. Why is it that, for some reason, Congress is constantly willing to keep you in the dark about the little game of the dogs of war? I mean, what is all that about? Why is the government doing business with foreign governments and groups of insurgents and selling them weapons? It's not once in a while. It's constant. There's an article out there this morning in the New York Times, which is very interesting. They've been looking for this location called the Midwest Depot. And they've been looking for it for years. It's been referenced as far back as the Bay of Pigs from 1960, 61 or 60, whatever it was. It's been referenced over and over and over again in issues from Angola to Nicaragua to Afghanistan. It was mentioned in 2007 in the Iran-Contra affair, and nobody seems to know where it is. There's various military bases around the country, and the argument is that they believe that they've actually deciphered where it is. And so what I'd like you to do is to read this article, because I think it's extremely important for you to understand the implications of it. The New York Times writes this article because what they're suggesting is that they've found the mythical, Midwest Depot, right? But the reason I'd like you to read it is a little different. I'd like you to read it because we are utilizing and selling weaponry that goes on and lasts for a long time. Now, there is a guy who's interviewed during the course of this, Mr. Thompson, who argues that the Midwest Depot's history should be scrutinized, and for a very good reason. His name is Alan Thompson, and he's a retired CIA analyst, and he's come forth as kind of a whistleblower, if you will. And here's what he has to say about it. I have worried about the extent to which the U.S. has spread small arms around over the decades to various parties it supported. Such weapons are very durable, and after the cause du jour has passed, where did they go? To be a little dramatic about it, how many of those AK-47s and RPG-7s that we see Islamists waving around today passed through the Midwest Depot on their way to freedom fighters in past decades? Of course, the Pentagon and the CIA declined to comment. And Camp Stanley in Texas is the location they believe that it's being used as the Midwest Depot. And there's been a lot of references to it over the course of time, but the point of this is simply this. There was and by the way, this is not the first time that Thompson has come out and spoken out about this. There was an article in 2011, also from the New York Times, in which Thompson, who worked for the CIA from 72 to 85, he went through declassified documents and old articles trying to find clues that he could expose, because he's under, of course, gag order from the CIA not to discuss anything that he dealt with there. And so he's got to find public corroboration for his claims, because there's really no other way for him to do it without ending up in jail. Anyway, the simple truth is this, ladies and gentlemen. The United States is the largest arms broker on the planet. And while your rights are being summarily dismantled here, in terms of your right to be able to own and possess weaponry, your government is taking that same exact weaponry they're trying to bar you from having possession of, and even greater. I mean, you can't just go and buy an RPG at the local gun show. You can't buy fully automatic weapons at a gun show. I mean, you can own them here in the United States, but they make it an extraordinarily arduous and difficult process to buy that, or to buy a short-barreled shotgun, or a sound suppressor. The point is that they make these arms available freely to whoever is the present administration's, friend of the day. The truth is that when you look at the level of, quite frankly, I don't know what else to call it other than skullduggery. These are people who are sitting out there creating these weapons bazaars, if you will, selling them to individuals, rebel governments, rebel causes that, this administration agrees to, but maybe next won't. The perfect example is Benghazi. The United States of America, the federal government, the Pentagon, the State Department, and in addition to that, the White House knew that what they were doing was arming Al-Qaeda. They knew that these weapons that were coming on shore that were originally, supposed to be for Libyan rebels were going to be given over, because Gaddafi was already gone. They were going to make their way to Al-Qaeda. They wanted to arm Al-Qaeda in Syria. The problem is that after the pawn has completed the assigned task, what happens to all these guns? What happens to all these missiles? The problem is that we've got a government that is just as dirty, just as foul, and just as evil as any criminal that they could conceivably point you to. It's tragic. We're paying for it. And while they're sitting here trying to dismantle your ability to own a semi-automatic 10/22, for crimini's sake, they're selling heavy weaponry. I mean, we're not talking about, a couple of semi-automatic AR-15s here, folks. We're talking about fully automatic weapons. We're talking about, saws and squad automatic weapons. I mean, these are heavy machine guns. We're talking about missiles. We're talking about RPGs. We're talking about surface-to-air missiles that will shoot down airliners. And if they don't use them today, where are they going to wake up and find them tomorrow? When the CIA has secret armories around the world, and especially in the United States of America, and is taking that location and utilizing it to load up our known sworn enemies, I don't care how much rationale you can apply to that to say, well, wait a minute now, these guys are fighting for us today. I disagree. And the proof of the pudding is they're over in Syria right now, and they're fighting each other. They're fighting everybody. I mean, it's ridiculous. The people that we armed in Iraq are now killing Iraqis in the tens of thousands. The people that we've armed in Afghanistan are the same Taliban we've been fighting against. Thousands of our young men, the treasure of our nation, not the gold treasure, the blood treasure, have died at the hands of American-issued weaponry. And it shows no sign of slowing down. The manufacturers and the arms merchants around the world are just pleased as punch. They'll rack them all and pump them all out as fast as we can buy them. This same government that is literally arming the world is seeking to disarm you. And if that doesn't give you pause to reflect upon their true intentions, upon the true nature of what they're accomplishing, I got to question your sanity. Benghazi was a cover-up, not about whether or not the president was trying to win an election. Benghazi was the equivalent of Iran-Contra. And everything else you hear is lies and propaganda. Our government is at war with us. It's at war with anyone who stands in its way. Physical, hot war, not a cold war. They're arming our own police departments against us. Who are these police departments fighting? Some phantom Al-Qaeda targeted risk here in the United States? If the government really cared about them, why are they allowing vast infiltrations of Islamic extremists to cross our border from Mexico? Why do they allow Islamic extremists to occupy places in Tennessee and in Kentucky? Have you not been reading about that? Have you not been reading about settlements, these vast areas where they're injecting Syrian refugees and refugees from these war-torn countries, bringing them over here and setting them up in communities? See, they're willing to undermine the fabric. They're willing to undermine every aspect of what we believe to be a nation that is intentionally secular, as long as they can accomplish their goal, as long as they can retain power, however fleeting, however corrupted, however black, however evil. This is a darkness that has fallen over all aspects of government because they all know that it's happening. They're just silent about it. Don't tell me that people in Congress don't know that we're the largest arms merchant on the planet. Every one of them is knowledgeable. Every one of them holds guilty knowledge. None among them is innocent. The State Department, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton. Tell me they don't know. Tell me they don't get that. We've got CIA and FBI agents advising the Ukrainian government. The truth is, America, that we are the primary instigator and the fomenter of violence around the world. Not you, not me. These political elitists who believe that there's some benefit to them, either in power or money, or I don't get it. You see, and I think that's part of the problem. We, as non-psychopaths, we don't see why they're not just content to just, go through life. Well, the truth is, they're not content to go through life without the ability to dictate the rules to somebody else? Is it a failing of self-esteem? Is it a failing of a black and evil heart? Is it a failing of their desire for greed of power, greed of gold? I don't know. I don't have it. And I'm willing to bet money you don't have it either. You wouldn't be listening to this show. Good lad, he's telling us that there's a grand bargain in the works for immigration. A grand bargain to grant amnesty. How much more of the fabric do you want to rend? How's this for a grand bargain? If you provide amnesty to 12 million, we label an equal number of Washingtonian tyrants dishonorably discharged. And we strip all of you of your citizenship, as required under the original 13th Amendment that was quietly stripped away from the Constitution. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Look it up, original 13th Amendment that sat on the books until 1870-something, right here in the state of Missouri. And then we deport you. We strip you of citizenship and deport you. How about we label you dishonorably discharged, and we include the entire judicial, executive, and legislative bodies and every executive leadership of every extra-constitutional agency, the real terroristic threat to the American people. The truth is that unless we're willing to face the realities and face the truth of what's going on with our country, with our government, with these black and evil minions in power, we will never, never be able to provide a solution to the problem. The first aspect of recognizing that the nation has gone completely awry is the ability to accept the reality that it's beyond salvage. I don't see that happening. Not until the tyranny becomes so obvious, so blatant, so total that there's no escape. And then you can bet that the dogs of war who are running the game around the world will be running it right here with their chosen gamesmen, their chosen pawns, with the people that they can best use to accomplish their evil task. Tell you, folks, unless we are willing to admit the truth, there is no salvage for us, no salvage and saving of our nation. I hear moral outrage all the time. Where's the moral outrage to this issue? Where's the moral outrage to the fact that we're supplying weaponry to armies around the globe that are using that to kill their own citizens? How can you claim moral outrage when you've got a crime against humanity being perpetrated right now? And when they've worn out their welcome there and they've turned the full brunt of their hatred and their evil and their domination and obsession towards us directly, my gracious, folks, I'm not sure you understand the entire significance of the height of that tidal wave. This won't be a 10-footer or even 100-footer. This will be a wall of water, not 1,000 feet high, but a mile high. And I don't believe there will be any escape. The total access system, the one that they're using to monitor and build up a record on you and everybody else, their ability to influence everything, their ability to manipulate you through the media and the press. This is the soft tyranny part. But when they decide to unleash the dogs of war right here at home, I got to tell you, folks, I don't know. I don't know how we're going to fight that. The truth is, we're not willing to fight it now while we can do so peacefully. I mean, that's always been and should always be the goal. But it doesn't really seem to be getting much traction. They've bought and corrupted and usurped anybody that was capable of that. Now there's a handful of us out there who are willing to stand up. But we need big numbers for those days, folks. And I don't see them here. This is coming. And it's going to come down on our heads like a ton of bricks. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. Please make sure that you visit with our sponsors. You can communicate with me directly. You can send me email to mike@americasvoicenow.org. I'd love to hear some feedback from you. If you're new to the program, if you're only catching it for the first time or the first few times, you're welcome to catch it live on America's Voice Now. We've got a YouTube channel at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. We've got a Facebook page. I'd love for you to go over there and visit it and hit the like button. It enables you to see the plethora of stories that we load up there every day. You can, if you wouldn't mind, please visit our Spreaker page, which is where we podcast from. It's Spreaker.com/user/America's Voice Now. If you have an opportunity to hit the follow button, and that will help to engage us with a greater audience, which enables us to get onto iHeartRadio and expand our program. I know this isn't the mainstream media type program. I say the stuff that, frankly, nobody else is willing to say. And there is a reason why you're not hearing guys like me all over the nation. There are plenty of us out there. We're just not allowed to talk beyond our little circles of influence. Doing everything in their power to keep this show down. So by spreading the word, sharing the videos, sending them in an email to someone or talking about it, maybe you're going to find the next Billy Graham in the crowd. Somebody who will proselytize what's going on and have a worldwide awakening. We need some George Washingtons out there, folks. Please make sure that you visit and support our sponsors. There's some local folks here, Wits End Classic Barbershop. You can swing in there and get yourself a great haircut. Patriot Cigar and Tobacco Shop. If you're in the state of Missouri and you have a legal challenge, call the law offices of Jason Henry, 417-256-4100. Make sure that you swing by Pizza Huts around the country, but in specificity, make sure that you visit the one on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. That's the one that actually makes sure that they're supporting this program every day. They have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have a $5 lunch. And then on Tuesday evening, kids under 12 eat free. It's family night. They have a pizza buffet there, a salad bar. You can obviously have some great stuff there. Make sure that you visit and see our friends over at Battery Station. You can find them on the web at batterystation.com. Visit Atlas Survival Shelters for the best in survival shelters around the nation. They make these NBC qualified survival shelters. Please make sure that you visit them at atlassurvivalshelters.com. And also Survival by Preparedness. You can obtain survival products, but as well, you can also get yourself some great natural grass-fed beef there. So if you have an opportunity to, please visit our website. Send me an email. You can contact me at mike@americasvoicenow.org. Please make sure that you visit our sponsors and you support those folks and let them know that you appreciate their supporting this program. It's what keeps us on the air. Have a great day. God bless.